Okay, so who hasn't seen a movie, right? And imagine themselves up there flying a plane. There's something about it. And it seems like you're ready to take that fantasy a step further because you gave us a ton of stuff from RoleCatcher about becoming a private pilot. So let's dive in and see what it really takes to get those wings.
Yeah, it's really interesting you're drawn to RoleCatcher. They're like the name for this, it seems like.
It seems that way. We've got their whole career guide, some of their interview prep stuff, even some peeks into how they handle job searching. It's a lot. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's back up. What does a private pilot even do? Besides, the flying part, obviously.
Such a key question. It's easy to get caught up in the image of it all. But really, it's a service job at its core. You're not flying for a big airline, right? You're flying smaller planes for like individuals or little groups. And RoleCatcher makes a point of saying this non-commercial thing limits you. The number of passengers, the type of plane.
So no jumbo jets then.
Probably not. It's about realistic expectations, right? But what's cool is that this limitation, it actually makes for a different kind of flying. Much more focused on the client, one-on-one.
So it's not just about following the flight plan. It's about understanding what your client wants, their needs. RoleCatcher even gets into this in their material, don't they? There's that whole part on functions and core abilities, and it's not all just technical stuff.
Right. Active listening, customer service, they're big on that, which you might not expect at first. But you're selling an experience, not just a plane ride.
Like it's a private driver versus taking the bus. One's just getting you there. The other is the whole package.
Yeah.
And speaking of the whole package, RoleCatcher gets real about the good and the bad here. They've got a whole list of pros and cons.
Yeah, and those are important to weigh. They're big on the flexibility, the travel opportunities.
Which, okay, sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want to see the world as part of the job? But how much travel are we really talking here? Is it all, like, tropical islands, or are we more likely flying into regional airports, smaller stuff?
That is a great question, and one they don't really answer straight up. It's probably going to depend on who you end up flying for, what you specialize in. Got to be careful not to get too, I don't know, starry-eyed about it.
For sure. On the other hand, they say expensive training is a big downside. Not a shocker there, but how does it compare to other fields, cost-wise?
Oh, it's a big investment, no doubt. There's the flight training itself, then the certifications, and the costs don't stop, really. Got to look at it like, what could you be earning elsewhere?
It's about priorities,
Right.
right? How much are you willing to put in, both time and money? But going back to those skills, we talked about listening, customer service, but RoleCatcher also mentions critical thinking, even complex problem solving. That's a lot for a job some folks picture as, well, pretty relaxed.
See, that's the thing. It's more than just piloting the plane. You've got to make quick decisions. Sometimes under pressure, with people's safety on the line, you need good judgment to think clearly when things get tough.
It's not just about, like, handling emergencies up in the air, though, right?
Right. RoleCatcher's big on the prep work, too. Planning the flight, checking everything twice, knowing the weather. It's all about minimizing any risk before you even take off.
Which makes those other skills, the thinking ahead, the problem solving, that much more important.
Exactly. It comes up way before you're in the air. And speaking of preparation, RoleCatcher, they go all in on the interview prep stuff, especially for private pilots.
Yeah, that stood out. They don't just give you generic tips. They get into the exact kind of questions they'll ask, even give sample answers, which is super helpful.
And the thing is, they focus on these competency-based questions, not just the usual tell me your strength stuff. These are meant to figure out how you've acted before. Like, it predicts how you'll be on the job.
So you can't just say you're a good communicator. You got to give them examples, real situations. That's intense.
It is. But it makes sense, right? I mean, it's a big responsibility. RoleCatcher gets that. Hiring a pilot, it's different. They want someone with the skills, sure, but also the right mindset.
Like they're prepping you not just to get the job, but to actually be good at it long term.
That's it. And part of that is they lay out these stages of a pilot's career, 4 of them, from trainee all the way up to senior pilot.
So it's weird they don't say how much experience you need for each stage. What's up with that?
Good catch. Means maybe you can get experience in different ways, not just the usual work history. In fact, they're really into networking. Joining clubs, going to events, even online forums, all that's good for meeting other pilots, potential clients even.
Building those relationships is key then. And speaking of which, they talk about online stuff a lot too, right? Like having a presence.
Oh yeah, building a whole portfolio online, your flight logs, any awards, even what past clients have said about you.
It's like a resume, but for flying specifically. Smart way to get noticed when there's competition.
And it goes back to how job hunting's changing. Even for pilots, tech is huge.
It's kind of wild how much RoleCatcher is about beating those computer systems, the ones scanning applications. There's a whole section on it.
It's the reality now. Pilots got to be tech savvy too. Using the right words, playing the algorithm game a little, even AI tools, it's all part of it.
Kind of funny, huh? Job's all about being above the clouds, but to get there, you're stuck in the digital world.
It is a bit of a contradiction, but it shows you gotta adapt no matter what you do.
And RoleCatcher seems to get that, giving you the tools to handle it.
They do. And here's the kicker. They say employers use their platform in reverse too. Instead of people applying to jobs, the companies search for specific skills and then reach out directly.
Whoa, hold on. That's really different, like turning the tables on how it usually works.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have the skills now. You got to be findable. Show what you can do in a way these employers are searching for, you know.
Be proactive, strategic.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah. And that's where all that branding stuff RoleCatcher talks about comes in. Don't just list your skills. Tell your story, why you're passionate, what makes you stand out as a pilot.
It's like, don't tell me, show me.
Yeah.
But for your career.
Exactly. And a good way to show is those stories, real examples, which is what those interview questions try to get at. Connect the dots from what you've done to what you can do.
Show them you can fly, sure. But also that you get it, you can give clients an awesome experience. Goes back to that client interaction thing.
Comes full circle. Being a private pilot, it's more than just the plane, it's the people. Building that connection, making it special for them, that's the real deal.
Sounds like a tough job, but man, rewarding if you love it.
Absolutely. There are hurdles, for sure, the training, the tech stuff, always changing. But RoleCatcher seems like they give you the tools, you know?
So anyone out there, if you're hearing this and thinking, yeah, flying's for me, RoleCatcher seems like they've got your back.
Totally. What they give you, it's way more than just a basic career guide. It's like having someone right there with you explaining each step.
And they don't sugarcoat it either. They're straight up about the costs, the training being tough, and how tech keeps changing things.
Right. But they also get why people love flying. That freedom, the adventure. It's a job, yeah. But it's more like a passion.
And that's key, isn't it? This whole idea of showing how much you care, in person and online. It's not just what you can do, it's about sharing that enthusiasm.
For sure. Building those connections, showing you're not just clocking in, you're all in on aviation, wanting others to feel that too.
So to wrap this up, for anyone listening who's been doing their homework on becoming a pilot, here's the takeaway. It's going to be a journey, no doubt, but worth it.
Wow.
Be realistic, never stop learning, and find what makes you stand out.
Nail the skills, yeah, but don't forget the people skills too. That's what makes a great pilot. Combine that precision with personality, give your clients an experience, not just a ride.
And as you start, remember RoleCatchers out there. They've done a lot of the work for you, laid it all out, basically.
Your turn now to take that map, find your own path, and take off.
And hey, who knows? Maybe someday we'll be talking about your flying adventures right here. Until then, safe travels, everyone.